Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing my full review on the Mimic Book 2 Chapter 3, and I know I've been away from YouTube for a while, but I recently got my driver's license about 2 weeks ago and I've been driving around almost everywhere. But I'm getting things back on track and I'm ready to get rolling. So the Mimic chapter came out about a month ago, which means most of the bugs have been fixed. I will not be judging the chapter on the release, I will be judging the chapter as it is right now. And I will not be rating the Nightmare, I will be rating just the normal mode like it's a fresh new player playing the game for the first time. Let's start with the opening of the chapter. For a new player, it might be a little confusing why we are all of a sudden in hell if they have not played the last chapter, but I don't think that really is such a big deal. The scenery is excellent at the start and gives off the real aesthetic horror vibe. The one thing I will note at the start, and actually not just the start, but a lot of chapter, is the chase scenes are complex, especially for new players. The first one is not too bad, but some of the other ones can be confusing, which I'll get into later. There are a lot of turns where they almost expect you to know where to go, but it's almost impossible for the first attempt. The torch part I thought was cool and I liked it because it was different gameplay but not complex. The next part was the puzzles. I think for new players could be challenging. Not the Simon Says one, but the one on the exit. Getting the shapes in proper order and they're all merged into one frame. I'm not sure exactly how a new player would understand how to do that because I still don't understand how to do it. The next part was jealousy. You know, it gets a lot of hate for being boring, but I don't think it is too bad. I actually thought it was fun. That may not be a popular opinion, but it was interesting. It could be just like the scenery at that point was being on a raft, but I thought this was a good part. Now the next part is the Falzer part, but before we get there, we are in a Japanese town. This stuff I really like in the Mimic, especially in the new chapter. If the entire chapter was in hell, it may have been too much, but having breaks in a peaceful town I thought was really nice and really cool. But for the gameplay on the Falzer part, I like that as well too. Now it's identical to games like Weird Stray Dad and Residential Massacre, and I'm pretty sure they took inspiration from it, but I'm glad they did, as this gameplay I really liked. I heard they also recently changed it from 5 to 3 nights. I am not sure why. I didn't think this was too bad, especially for when I'm actively doing stuff, but it was still fun. And the Doors-like minigames were really fun as well too. The next part is one of my favorites. Still don't understand why, but I really like it. It was when we get to the subway. I was really thinking about why I like this part so much, and I think it's because it's the first piece of modern Mimic we have ever seen. What I mean by that is the Mimic is set a bit in the past with a few clips and stories in somewhat the present day, so the Mimic always feels like 100 to 200 years old. It was kind of refreshing seeing this, and at that point my first reaction was I thought it was like a movie. The train coming to pick us up too was awesome, and traveling back to hell was awesome as well too. These were just some awesome parts. Once we get to hell, once again, we see the Chainsaw Man and the beloved Tokyo Toe type monsters have returned. Overall, I like this part. It was classic Mimic gameplay, and gameplay wise, probably my favorite. The Chainsaw Monster was a cool touch as well. I really like this part just because of how simple it was. I really enjoyed it for the first time experience, and I thought it was really cool. But however, the part after this gets a big thumbs down. I'm not sure if they have changed this yet, but it is boring. The waves, the resets, the rocks, a boring part, and we don't even have sprint. For new players, this would probably be incredibly frustrating. After this, if you want to, you can go see Sama, which I thought was really cool, and Sama is a cool villain, or a hero, or neutral. I'm not really sure what your guys' side on that is. On that part, gameplay-wise, it was decent. I didn't think it was too challenging. I wouldn't say it was incredibly fun, though, but I enjoyed it for the first time experience. The Yuri boss fight is probably my favorite boss fight in the Mimic. I liked it because unlike some other boss fights, it wasn't as repetitive. Grabbing the swords is repetitive, I guess, but I think it is really satisfying throwing them. I wish there was a regeneration though. For example, every time we do damage, we heal a little bit. Now finally, for the last part, we have the Shinigami part. I thought the cutscene was the coolest cutscene we got in the Mimic. Shinigami looking like a menace riding the creature thingy like a boss. However, like I was talking about at the start of the video, the chase scene is confusing. For a new player, how do they know where to go? What is even worse is sometimes the game lets you go into a certain direction for a little bit, then 10 seconds later they're like, sorry, the last turn you went the wrong way and you can't correct it. But once you get to know what the route is, it's pretty fun. Now finally, let's talk about the final cutscene. The cutscene was definitely the biggest plot story we have gotten in the Mimic, with Jealousy turning it into Acerbius. I really liked it and was kind of blown away to not expect it. It does kind of make me feel like the Mimic is trying to turn away from the horror element a bit of the Mimic and go towards more like an action game, which is probably why they're doing more boss fights. But overall, this chapter I thought was really great, and it was one of my favorite chapters. I wish for future chapters we get back to the core of the Mimic with the scary suspenseful parts, because I think that's one of the things the chapter lacked, was suspense. Also, I got a few variety videos planned for the upcoming week, so keep on the lookout for that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and join our Discord as well. That is all. Peace out.